Good morning, everybody, and a happy Friday morning to you. You know, a lot of you are commenting on these thumbnails and these pictures and about how fabulous they are. That's not me. If you look closely in these pictures, you'll see the original person who does them. This comes from Instagram. She has an Instagram account. Her stuff is fabulous. That's why I use it. But I don't want you to think it's me. All right, let's get started, shall we? I am starting off this morning by showing you these pictures of the sunset. We don't see that too much in the summer because, you know, the trees are full. But in the winter when the leaves fall, these sunsets are just, the red going over the horizon is just so beautiful. So I snapped these two pictures for you really quick. All right, now let's jump in and get there. Now, I wanted to point this out. This is going on Twitter. I'm sure that a lot of you know this is happening, but you know, this is how the bots work. They put out the same message over and over and over again so that you see it repeatedly, but it's all done by different accounts. Do you guys notice that? But it's basically the same message over and over and over again. Moving on. The first story I want to talk about is really heartwarming, actually. It's about how Mike Tindle basically has stepped up to fill the void left by Harry. Prince William has always had a brother to talk to and confide in and lean on. And now Mike Tindle has apparently stepped up into that role. He stepped up to be the brother that Harry should have been. We know from pictures and other reports that they have been very close for years and years. They're very, according to the article, very straight up guys. They're down to earth. You put, you know, William's role in state occasions and, you know, where he has to maintain a certain amount of, you know, decorum. And but then if he goes to rugby or football, he's there cheering with the rest of the fans. They're saying that, you know, William and Mike are two peas from the same pod, even though they've had different upbringings. Let's be honest. Harry threw his brother, his supposedly beloved brother, under the bus in the worst way possible, insulting him, insulting his wife, insulting their father, insulting William and Catherine's parenting style. I mean, keep in mind that this is, you know, Harry, whose own 4-year-old son is already asking for a Leica camera because he's probably, well, I'm not even going to go there, but Harry isn't doing what Harry is supposed to do, so Mike has stepped up to it. We've all seen the looks that Mike has given Harry every time Harry comes back. We've seen this look before. What I really love is the fact that Mike has stepped in as an uncle and a mentor for William and Catherine's children. He's absolutely taken over the role that Harry should have had. And as far as Mike and William being close, let's not forget that Mike calls William 1 pint Willie. So I love the fact he's acting as an uncle to the Wales children, and he's giving William the brotherly bond that he should have had with Harry. Now, I would like to point out that in one of these articles, it points out that William and Zara have always been very close. They're close in age. They grew up together. So it really makes sense that William is close to Zara's husband. But remember, it was Mike Tindle's comments about Harry in 2021 when he talked about how he attacked Harry when Harry was only 18 or 19. And it was Mike who suggested that the whole family would love to beat up Harry. And now they can because Harry doesn't have royal protection. I could totally see Mike saying that. All right, moving on. Next up, this really caught my attention. They're saying that Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has moved on from the drama with Harry and Meghan. And here's the thing. I don't think she was ever in the drama. That's just my personal opinion. I think you have somebody else that was extremely jealous of her, constantly staring, constantly wanting to be in the limelight like Catherine was, but it didn't happen. So they started this whole, I'm better than she is, look at this, look at that. But the truth is, Catherine has a quiet confidence that she just exudes. Catherine was never comparing herself. Catherine was doing her job. Somebody else was trying to compare and start this tit for tat thing, but I don't think Catherine was ever in it. I think Catherine knew that Meghan was jealous. Yep. And with all of that, they're putting out articles saying that Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is prepared to fight for what she thinks is right. And I completely agree with that. I do think that she thinks strategically. Remember, it was her that put the statement, "Recollections may vary." She is playing the long game, as is William, as is Charles. She is protecting her husband's legacy, her son's legacy. She has this fabulous public image. She's always nice and smiley, but it's pretty obvious behind the scenes she is strong-minded, strong-willed, and prepared to fight. That's what the article points out, and I completely agree with it. And her steeliness, as the article says, totally came into play right after the whole Harry and Meghan bombshell. When she put that statement, "Recollections may vary," in there, that was her way of letting everybody know that perhaps there was as the article put it, a different truth. There you go. All right, moving on. In an attempt to keep them, in the news, they're putting out articles like this. They have a huge but minimalist Christmas tree at their Montecito mansion. And then the picture they use was from the Netflix docuseries, because you see Ashley, the niece, playing with a baby on the floor. That's the baby who supposedly now is 2.5 years old. So the truth of the matter is they don't have the information. They're just trying to reuse information to keep things, going, to sugarcoat their attempt to, elevate Harry and Meghan. It's a waste of their time, in my opinion. All right, next up, this really caught my attention. We all know that Meghan did that stupid, ridiculous, cheesy coffee ad, which was done like last year, and they just released it. Well, Kinsey Schofield, I just love her, pointed out that she's trying to turn the media attention into free press for her coffee company, of course, because she's invested in the coffee company, and she's trying to make herself look more likable, and therefore people will want to buy the coffee and she'll make some money. Right. I completely agree with what was said. Her being in that commercial was very condescending, but because she's financially invested in the coffee company, she's trying to have the last laugh, because the media is now starting to call her and Harry out for the first time this year. So there you go. FYI, the article says that they spent Christmas with Doria and friends. Doria, I believe. Friends, no. So with that, I'm looking at this article saying that Harry and Meghan's nightmare is confirmed by just one fact. And that's the fact that this has been the worst year they've ever had. They produced nothing for Netflix. Their Spotify deal was canceled. They're claiming it was a mutual parting. It was not. They were canceled. Then we heard they were marketing it for somebody else. Never came to fruition because nobody else wanted it. Now, I really want to talk about this because this is all in the news for the end of the year. Catherine's wardrobe in 2022 was £176,000. Now, that was clothing and jewelry. And also, you don't know if she paid the full price or a discounted rate for the clothing and the jewelry. Well, this year, in 2023, the cost of her clothing dropped dramatically. And it's being reported she cut it by over £18,000 to £159,000 for the year. And they're claiming, I don't know if this is true or not, but they're claiming that includes the headpiece that she wore at the coronation. That alone was £32,000. I don't know about all that, but okay. Now, she did recycle a lot of clothing this year, and she wore a lot of affordable pieces, like she wore like $20 necklaces off the rack, that sort of thing. Now it's saying, or it's being reported, that the most expensive outfit she wore is the one that she wore to King Charles's coronation, which I can totally see that. She wore an Alexander McQueen dress and the headpiece that was made in collaboration. Supposedly, again, the headpiece was £32,000 and the dress was $3,000. Personally, I don't see how a bunch of leaves, whatever they were, put over her head was worth £32,000. I don't get that, but okay. It's also pointed out in this article that this is the cost of new outfits that Catherine was wearing on official engagements only, and taking into account the value of items that had not been seen in public previously, where outfits that might have been custom made, they had to estimate the value. Here's a perfect example. This outfit above, they didn't count the jacket because she'd worn it before, the purse, she'd worn it before, the earrings, she'd worn them before. They just looked at the turtleneck, the pants, and these shoes. And all of that came together to be like 1,800 pounds. Or how about this outfit? They didn't count it because every single item had been worn before. Or this item above, the skirt was 20 pounds. That's right, 20 pounds. But the boots were custom at 1,400 pounds, and they're guesstimating the coat because it was custom was 3,000 pounds. Let's look at one last one. You see this above? The purse, the boots, the gloves, the earrings, the brooch, all worn before. The hat was 570 pounds, and the dress and coat together came to about 6,000 pounds. So Catherine recycles the old with the new. Well, they're going back now to say that Meghan had the most expensive royal wardrobe in 2018. Turns out that her wardrobe, her first full working year in the royal family, was worth more than Catherine and Eugenie put together. Yeah. She decked herself out in Oscar de la Renta, Givenchy, Armani, Victoria Beckham, like big names, and her outfits cost over $508,000. So even though Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties, in 2022, her wardrobe ballooned to over 79,000 pounds. That's an increase of over 20,000 pounds in 2021. Everybody knows, we've always known, ever since she joined the royal family, Meghan loves glitzy, glamour. But since she's left the royal family, they're saying that her love of this wardrobe has only accelerated and gotten worse. Now, they did the same thing. They took into account the outfits she was wearing. They did not include recycled pieces. The problem is she really doesn't wear recycled pieces. And so the question is, who's picking up the bill for the clothing? Is she paying full price? Is she still asking for freebies? Let's look at this white pantsuit. The jacket was 2,100 pounds. The pants were 1,100 pounds. The bag was 2,200 pounds. The keychain was 234. The pinky ring was 911. I mean, she was wearing almost a 7,000 pound outfit. Or how about this outfit? The coat is 4,200 pounds. The pants were 329 and the bag was 1,100, and they don't know about the top. My question is, since this was Invictus, were they the ones picking up the tab for her outfits last year? But let's forget about last year's Invictus. Let's look at this year's Invictus. Yes, her clothing totaled over $350,000. Well, clothing and jewelry and shoes and purses. And for those of you keeping count, that's 160,000 pounds more than last year. No wonder Invictus is having money problems. Let's look at some of that. They said that her first day in Germany alone, between a shawl that was almost 1,000 pounds, and they're talking about her tote bag, and they're talking also about her tank watch and her, wedding band. Even if you take all of that out, they even mention her pinky ring gifted to her by somebody in the Middle East. That's all they'll say about that. She had multiple outfit changes, 3 changes in a day, 2 changes in a day, always high-end stuff. Of course, she wore her watch and her wedding band, but the blood pinky ring, I just thought that was interesting. She wore a blood pinky ring to Invictus Games with soldiers who probably, they were fighting against the very people who gifted her that diamond. Remember, Invictus Games has a shortfall, and when one of the staffers expressed concern that Invictus was picking up Harry and Meghan's security, hotel, flights, outfits, that it was putting a strain on the game's finances. So since Harry and Meghan are having such a bad year, I believe they're using the money from Invictus to buy all of Meghan's clothing so they don't have to pay for it, and of course jewelry pieces. I believe they're using Invictus for security because they're not paying for their own. I believe that these are people that are multi-millionaires on their own. Why is Invictus paying for their hotel? Why is Invictus paying for their flights? They should pay for these items themselves. And as far as clothing goes, what's wrong with Harry and Meghan wearing Invictus gear like everybody else? You guys know where I'm going with this. And by the way, in case I didn't say it earlier, the gentleman that stood up, and complained about the shortfall of money, he was one of the ones that was let go. How dare anybody cut off Harry and Meghan's cash cow? All right, you guys. Now, don't forget to sign up for my Patreon. Remember, no video New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. First video will be Tuesday the 2nd on Patreon, and then I'll be back on YouTube on the 3rd. For those of you who are subscribed to my channel, double check and make sure you're still subscribed. And if not, hit that button and go ahead and subscribe. Don't forget to leave those comments below. You know I'm reading them. And if you've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, have a great day.